You can take a loss or what's going to be a loss. You can take what's going to be a loss and you can turn it into a win. It just depends on you. It depends on me. I'm Kanisha Hart. I have the privilege of helping coaches who are struggling, frustrated, or new build to their very first six-figure year in their business through the power of podcasting because I interview six and seven figure earning coaches and learn their strategies and share their strategies with you on how they built their business so you can do the same. I also speak about forging through fear and how we attack the fear that attacks us so that it can stop holding our future hostage and we can turn the future that we want into reality. Today, I'm coming to you about, so this is my Tuesday thing, where I talk to you about what has just dropped on the Coach Up podcast. And the episode this week, the coach featured this week is Daa'iyah Cooper, Dr. Daa'iyah Cooper. And what Daa'iyah Cooper coaches on is business, but also real estate investing because was going to take a loss in selling her house when she purchased her first house. She was then relocating. She needed to sell her house, or so she thought. And because she bought it with basically no money down, um, when she went to sell it, she had no equity in it, and she was going to be upside down because it cost money to sell a house, not an insignificant amount either. So if she had sold a house, she would have taken a loss. I'm assuming there's probably something going on in your life where you are looking at taking a loss. I know I have it, where things are not going the way I want them to, or the money that I want to make is not coming in, or there are bills due that I would like to pay off, but just can't see a way to get there instead of doing the bare minimum. Maybe you're experiencing that. Or it is a relationship has gone sour in your business and you're just not sure how to recover it. And you may have to take a loss. You may have to fire somebody, or you may have to break off the collaboration or the partnership. Or it may be the fact that you have invested all this money into marketing or into a website or into advertising, and it's just not going well. And right now, you're taking a loss and you just want to cut ties. You just want to let it go. You just want to start over. You want to throw your hands up in frustration and you want to be done with it. That is not an uncommon reaction. Most of us respond that way. But it has to be a mindset shift, and we have to do differently in order to get a different result. And we can. It is possible. And Dr. Daa'iyah, she is an example of that because what we talk about in the podcast, Coach Up podcast, which you can go in here now. It is this episode is out with her today. Today is September 10th, just in case you needed to know that reference. We talk about the fact that once she realized she was going to take a loss, she made a decision that she was not going to. She didn't know how she was not going to take a loss. She didn't have any clue as to what she needed to do differently or what her other options were when she made that decision. She simply made a decision that I'm not going to allow this loss to define my future. I am going to change what the current reality is because I hadn't taken the loss yet. This is just the situation that's staring me in the face. And that looks like the next step, unfortunately, is to take this loss, sell the house at a loss. But she made a decision that that is not what she was going to do. She was going to find a way to come out of this with a win, to come out of this making this work. And so she did. So what she did, she rented her home out. She didn't know anything about renting. This was her first home. This is, I'm sure, maybe she had rented before in like apartments, maybe, or maybe even houses, but she had never rented a house on her own. And renting a house on your own that you own to other people is a completely different process than renting a home from somebody else, right? As the homeowner who you now are becoming a landlord, you have documents that have to be in place, you have leases, you have liability that you have to cover, you have to ensure that you're aware what to do if your tenant doesn't pay their bills, they harm the property, there's an accident, there are all these things. And I'm not saying she learned all of them immediately, but she made the decision, I'm going to go a different route. And some may say it's risky, but winning and losing, risk is involved. You're either going to lose something, you're going to win something. So she decided to take the path that was going to allow her to win. It's going to keep her from losing. And she said, I'm going to take on the risk. I'm going to learn this process and I'm going to generate income from this property because I'm not going to take a loss. So she decided to rent out her property. So I say that to you because it may not apply to you from a real estate standpoint, but I want you to think about it from a business standpoint as a coach. You may have a group coaching program that is costing you more money than you're making for whatever reason. Just using it as an example, maybe the technology that you're using to advertise is not being covered by the number of people that you have in the group coaching. Or maybe the technology that you're using to house your group is costing you more than the number of people that you actually have and the amount that you're charging. How can you change that situation around instead of just cutting all ties, cutting off advertising, cutting off marketing, closing down the community, changing your entire course program, shutting down the group coaching, going back to one-on-one, what have you? How can you change that so that it now starts making you money? There is a way, right? And so you've got to dig deep and either figure it out for yourself or ask people, right? Ask people what they would do. People are willing to help. People love to share their opinions. Essentially, people helping is people sharing their opinions. It's what they know, their experience that they are giving you concerning something that you have told them about. And that's not all that we come from, but that's a lot of what we talk about is our opinions, our thoughts, our take on things. And so ask other people, how do I fix the situation? Ask 5, ask 10 at least, and you will find a solution somewhere. But what you're doing is you're making the decision you're not going to take the loss. And so the only other decision that's available is you're going to make a win out of this. Now you just go ahead and figure out how. And so that's what Daa'iyah did. She said, I'm not going to take this loss. I'm going to figure out how to make this a win. And so she rented out her property. And that led to the second method that she used to build her real estate portfolio and growing empire, and become a coach to help other people grow their business, their real estate portfolio, and eventually to coach people in growing their business as she has built her coaching business. The second thing that happened was because she now had this taste of, I'm an investor. I have a property, I rent it out, it makes money every single month. I'm now officially a real estate investor. And this is passive income that I don't have to physically work for, maybe an hour or two a month or maybe a week to maintain it, but basically passive income. She then realized, I can do this more. How do I do it? But the problem was she didn't really have a lot of money. And I don't know if her credit was good or not, but she definitely didn't have a lot of money at the time. But she knew she wanted to pursue this. So how she turned this potential loss into thousands of dollars. First, we have the property being rented out. Now have the desire to make this real estate income grow. How do I do that? So one, she got a coach. She found somebody who was already doing what she wanted to do to teach her the steps. So she invested in herself and she made the choice to get a coach. The second thing she did was she researched. So she did a ton of research to find out what are other methods that can help her to achieve this goal. Because, second thing I want you to hear concerning real estate that we talk about in the podcast episode that dropped today is she was able to, her next home, she was able to buy it without having to go to a bank, get a loan, qualify for a loan, or put very much money down. She actually ended up getting the deed to a house without the debt being in her name. That all came from the fact that she said, I'm not going to take a loss on my original house, and I'm going to find out a way to make it a win. And that win has now turned into 2 wins. Can you imagine how wonderful it would be in order to buy a house where you don't have to use your credit? You do not have to go to a bank or a mortgage lender or a credit union to qualify. And you're able to take over an asset that can generate you income, a house, without having to take on the debt in your name. It can be done in real estate. And Dr. Daa'iyah found the way to do that because she was willing to do the work to research and find a way to turn what could have been a potential loss into a win and thousands of dollars of profit. And so essentially what she did, I will tell you the name. You can do research on this on YouTube. or anywhere you get your research from. But she did what they call a subject to. I believe that's right. Or she may have assumed the deed. Oh, I think she assumed the loan. Excuse me. So I think she assumed the loan, meaning she found a buyer. I'm sorry, she found a seller who needed to sell their home. She is the buyer. She can provide what the seller needs, which is a buyer. The seller wants to sell. So she's providing a solution for them. So then what happened was she, in talking to the seller, was able to get the seller to finance. I said, no, she was able to get the seller to say, I'll only take a little bit of money. I don't need you to buy this away from me through a bank. I don't need it out of my name. But as long as you will take over the payments, assume the payments for my loan, you can have the house and I'll sign over the house to you. The seller gets what they want. They no longer have to make that payment a month on the mortgage that is causing them stress for whatever reason. And they get to walk away scot-free. And Daa'iyah got what she wanted, which is another house to generate income from. So I just wanted to bring this to you to give you a little tantalizing bit about why you need to go listen to the episode that just dropped with Dr. Daa'iyah. It's actually a 2-part episode because I wanted to make sure you had enough time to listen to both. So first part dropped on Tuesday, second part on Thursday. So I wanted to bring you that little tantalizing bit so that you would go listen to it. But also I wanted to encourage you that you may be facing a loss, but it does not have to be a realized loss. Realized meaning it doesn't actually have to happen. When you're facing situations, you can make a decision that you are going to turn it into a win, and then you just have to be willing to do the work. So I challenge you to figure out whatever you're facing right now, whatever situation looks like, it's going down the drain, it's just not going to work, you're not going to be successful at it. I challenge you today to sit down, to write it out, and to write down every single idea. It doesn't matter how crazy the idea is, preposterous, whatever. I want you to write down every single idea that you can think of that can turn that potential loss into a win. And then I want you to reach out to at least 5 people, tell them what you're dealing with, and ask them, how would you fix this problem? And the ones who come back to you and say, you can't, you ignore them. And then you replace them. And the ones that come back with you and say, this is what I would do. Test it, try it, write it down along with your ideas, and then pick one and let's go. And if that one doesn't work, take the next one. Because again, losses can be turned into wins. It just takes enough dedication. Okay, this is my encouragement for you today. Remember, this is my 30-day momentum challenge for YouTube. So subscribe. My goal is to get 10,000 subscribers in You're a coach, you're struggling, you're frustrated, you want to build your business to 6 figures, you have fears that are holding you back. This is the channel for you. I'm Kanisha, and I want to help you get to your first 6 figures and over those fear hurdles so you can have the future you want. So help me do that. Subscribe, share this, and I'll see you on the next video. I'm doing 30 days of videos in September to grow this YouTube channel, and I need your help. And so I'm going to say thank you